Hello everybody. So now I'm going to show you what is frequently a wintertime maintenance routine that I go through for taking care of the bike. So right here we'll see that a lot of crap ends up building up all around here. You can see as I peel some of it off. Wipe that off on a rag. And everything in here just gets skunked up. And winter, being a time of less riding in general, makes for a good time to deal with this. So I'm just going to walk through the steps and I'll show it to you, but since I walked through it first, if you don't want to watch me actually doing it, then you don't have to. So all you'll do is disassemble this, the whole derailleur. So you can do this while leaving this on here and just take the arms off. It's actually, yeah, it's easy to leave the derailleur on for our purposes right here. So what I'll do instead is I'll just disconnect the arm of the pulley arm right here from the derailleur, and then I can disconnect each of the pulleys, clean them off in a nice big bowl like this, also helping make sure that I don't lose any parts or lose track of where they go, and clean them all off, put them back in with a fresh coating of chain lubricant or other light lubricant, and then everything will be ready. So, and the way to help remember which one of these is the correct pulley is, I believe, terminology is one of the things I end up forgetting frequently, but one of these is called the guide pulley and one of these is called the chain pulley, and the guide pulley is what goes down here. So, and if I'm wrong, well, I'll delete this video after double checking at the end. So, since I said I'll go through it, I'm just going to start here. First, I'll get the right size of Allen wrench. Just pop that baby off. So there's a little bit of difficulty of this where you just have to align the spokes right, and if your multi-tool is a particularly short arm for a Allen wrench, this will be particularly difficult. Now, note, all this is under tension, so as I do this, I want to hold tension with my hand so as to minimize how much stuff wants to go flying all around. So there's that screw. And this is why you have to be careful, because already a couple things are dropping around. And then we'll do this. I just dropped those into our handy dandy bowl. Put them all into a pile in one place with themselves. And then we'll do the other one right here. And now that the tension's released, this is a lot easier. And so we just get started. It's always faster to, unless you can't get a grip on the screw, it's always faster to finish off a bolt unless you can't actually get a handle on it because it's too slick or doesn't want to be responsive. And so this one, because it's not under tension anymore, it's a lot easier to get off. So I put those in here. Now I'll put this in here as well. Now ideally, it's best to keep all these parts together. Make sure this is visible. All these parts together so that you can tell that this is all matching with this and this is all matching with this. And while we're here, we will take care of cleaning up some of the other side of this because you don't get a lot of opportunity to do so. So let's see if I can tilt this guy up to be a little bit more cooperative for viewing here. So this was the top pulley. So I'm just going to start wiping this off. And this is part of why I like doing this on a surface on top of towels that I make sure to lay down. Now, I believe that my pulleys are probably starting to get close to needing replacement. The reason why I can say that is, well, I've serviced these a number of times over the years, and these are getting positively sharp. And I do not remember those always being that way. So I'm guessing that's the equivalent of these wearing out over time. Now, if you ever have, yeah, so this is called the G pulley. Oh, so this is the guide pulley. So I was wrong earlier. So kudos to people who enjoy calling that out later. So my sense on a lot of these things is the knowledge of the name of some particular thing matters less than being able to identify what you're dealing with and dealing with it, essentially. So that's that. And since this has a ceramic inside, you can tell that this, if you start losing track of things, this is the ceramic piece that'll go inside of it. But I'm not through cleaning everything yet, so I'm going to wipe down this guy. Let's see. Things to go over while I'm talking with you about this. Well, while we're doing this, while we're dealing with these pulleys, this isn't a bad time to just sort of take a look at the derailleur, because it's not like your eyes need a lot of extra focus while you're just wiping down these pieces. So, and on here, and I'll show you this in a second, you can tell that one of these sides has a nice O-ring attached inside of it, and the other one does not. Now it looks like on this one, the O-ring probably could have come off with it. Maybe it doesn't. I don't remember this off the top of my head enough, but these are things, yep, so if I pushed it on hard enough, it's a thing that'll come off with it when I do it. So, since I just got it out, I might as well give it a more thorough clean, because you can tell, I can tell, looking at it, that there's some crap built up in there. But in any case, and just as a heads up, these videos are going to be a lot of stream of conscious, trying to dump a lot of info at you, just trying to remember the different pieces that I've learned piecemeal over the years, so that everything sort of related to whatever I'm doing that you might want to know or need to know are available. Because from experience, there ends up being just so many little pieces that you don't even know to ask. And I'm sure I'm going to be wrong on stuff too, but that's how we learn. And it's best not to be afraid of that, because then you would never even get to try to learn. So I just keep cleaning these guys. This is not the fastest process in the world. But it gives me an opportunity to talk with y'all. So on the derailleur up here, on the derailleur up here, I'll give you a better eye view of that. It's a new mount, so I'm meddling with it. On the derailleur up here, you'll notice there's 4 pivot points. So, most critical thing in servicing it, and which is a good thing since you're right here at face level anyway, is looking at it going, okay, how much dirt and crap has been built up on there? What sort of looks like it really needs some cleaning. And cleaning it, with a rag, running a paper towel through it. If you want to be very fancy, like using degreaser stuff, like bike degreasing chain cleaning stuff, and then relubricating it with a light viscosity or like water lubricant. There goes lady. She always likes being involved. You don't want to drink that water anymore. Thank you, girl. Yes. So that's the top pulley. I make sure I keep all of its parts I've cleaned up one. Yep, so top pulley, clean up all of its parts right here. And now I'll clean off the other one. And it's all the same process. Now this bottom one is a lot messier. And you can tell because none of this stuff wants to come apart. So the sort of central piece did not fall out on this one when I was disassembling it like I did on the other. But that's why it's a good thing to take care of this. Now, I could probably do this more frequently, but winter just seems to be a good time to do it. It's a time where you're getting less riding in unless you're not as dissuaded by cold as I can end up being. I commute year round, but you know, I don't feel as inclined to do century days when it's 20 degrees out. There's no Alaskan type ride prizes for being champion of doing that around here, so there's nobody to brag to but yourself. Other than, you know, bragging rights of being a year-round commuter. And so as you do this, you just keep track of how the pieces go together, so, and where, like which ones go to which thing. So, which is a critically important thing because I say it and you go, yeah, I get it. Keep track of stuff. And so, for instance, this nut goes to that pile, and I hadn't cleaned it with that pile of stuff, so it's good that I'm going to do it right now. So if you're being very, very particular, so one thing that I like to do with threads when I'm cleaning them is stick a fingernail with whatever cleaning item I'm using, and just, so like a rag or whatever, and just run down the whole of the thread while spinning it. And just a second ago there had been some, there's still a touch of it, there'd been a lot more rust in there. See if I can get that last piece out. Just because I'm here and I might as well. This is a good way in order to get a lot of gunk and nastiness out of your threads on something. And so I just run it through. It's still a little bit there, but I mean, these are years old pulleys that have seen thousands of miles. So a new derailleur is possibly in the future, and if I feel like splurging, I might get a new bike frame and transfer over stuff from here to there, because there's enough stuff that I like that's on here that wouldn't be on a new bike that I figure I'm just going to take care of that. And clean off this second bolt accordingly. Stick the my fingernail into the thread again and just spin outward, spin it, loosen it so that I just roll down the screw thread, and then we wipe off this guy, and you can see right now looks sort of crappy. Just a couple of wipes with this rag makes for a marked improvement. Now this is old enough though, it's not going to look amazing no matter what I do to it, but having this be cleaner means that there's less that's going to be thrown into the into the chain, into other moving parts. It's just a good thing overall. And just about done. So I'm going to show you reassembly of these pieces. So these guys, and this is part of why it's helpful to make sure you know where stuff was. These guys are held in place by the outward tension of this. So if you look there, there's a little gap, and that's made to essentially hold this. So it makes the whole thing sort of hard to get in and out of everything when you're fiddling, but it's actually helpful for, and me shoving that through just got some more gunk out of the middle, so just wiped it off. And that sort of function is what's going to hold these guys on here, or help to at least. Now this is the bottom one, and I've got that reassembled in place. Then I'm going to do the same thing on this. So it's actually easier just to put these. It's good to get the moisture off of this one before you're done. Put these little O-rings back in there and put one side into here. And then I put my ceramic piece in because the metal will hold the ceramic piece in, so it won't come out the other side now. And then I put the metal on this side, and we are set for that. Now, I'm gonna tilt this back up. Do 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 do. Okay. So now I'm just going to wipe off the other side of this, of the derailleur cage. And cage arm. And because if I don't, then all the work I just did will be immediately undone. Or not immediately undone. It wouldn't be totally for no purpose, but it'll definitely not be as helpful as it would have been otherwise. And this had a lot of salt on it before, which you might have noticed when I was showing you up close shots of it. And now, quite a bit better, quite a bit nicer. So we will. Now, it's always important to look at this and go, okay, how does this look like it's going to go? And thankfully enough, when you look at the basic design, looks pretty obvious. That's how it's going to line up. Now, because I kept track of which pulley was which, I know that this is going to be the one that goes on the bottom. Also another reason why it's important to work on a carpeted surface or someplace with a controlled environment of some sort. If you drop stuff like that onto concrete and it's like a bunch of little parts or bearings, or like the little parts that I've dropped during this video, that stuff becomes real hard to find real quick. And I was actually trying to thread it through into the threaded side. So I start here. And this is also why it's important to think through what you're doing. I need to put the chain right there. And what I end up telling people with bicycle repair when they go, how do you just know how to do all this stuff? I don't. I've watched things like this. I've explored through random bike forums pages and all this different stuff. And I've done things wrong a bunch of times. Yeah. It's not dinner time. Yeah, I'm sorry. Because, it will not be infrequent that you'll do that wrong. And you'll go, yeah, I got my derailleur hanger back on and my chain's not in there. And, then you undo it and you redo it and you fix it. And you learn for the process. And it's embarrassing and frustrating. And so so you don't want to tighten this down all the way before you've finished up everything else. For instance, if I would have had to have loosened it in order to get the chain underneath this little guy. So these little guides right here, this piece and this piece, this metal piece and this metal piece, are both things that you definitely want to be cognizant of as far as how they're going to impact where your chain goes. And make sure you route accordingly around them so that you do not have dramatic problems. And I routed that into the wrong side. There we go. Yep, that's a good example of it. So one of the things I end up telling people when I work with them on bike repair stuff is it is important to be willing to Google pictures of bike stuff, of like what a bike's layout should look like, because there will definitely be times where you'll sit there, be reassembling a bike and go, oh God, how did this thing go in here, and how did this go in here, and everything's wrong. Now, make sure I got my piece back on there. Yeah. You'll cooperate in a second. But this is part of the process. I mean, and this is something where I don't do it super often, but most people don't, because you don't need to unless you work in a shop. And even shop people, I would say, you know, this isn't a frequent thing that people are coming in going, oh, I need my pulleys cleaned. I need my pulleys replaced because I've had them just beaten to crap and die. But it's good to hold pressure here while I get this ready. Come on. Now this is where the hand finickiness really comes into play. There we go. Okay. Am I in there? There we go. Feel the threads going in. Now, for a lot of threads, the general good advice is to make sure that you put on lubricant, like a thicker, sort of a thicker, heavier sort of lubricant onto the threads of the screws as you're about to put them in. I'll do that after talking with you folks, but I figure I wouldn't make you watch that for this video because there's enough eyeballing me doing stuff randomly. And now that I've got everything in place, I just snug up these screws. Now I don't want to tighten them real hard, just essentially to the point where they don't feel like they really want to move very much anymore. And then make sure to double check. And everything looks and feels like it's running a lot smoother than it was earlier from my earlier video today. So I hope this is helpful for folks. Continuing to get the layout of doing this with a cell phone sort of squared away right, so I appreciate any patience. And with these instructional videos, since I haven't been like doing a lot of pre-planning of what I'm going to say beforehand, I appreciate patience on any lag that ends up happening as far as me going, this is wrong. Let me show you why I got that wrong. But to me, that's helpful for the process for you getting how this just ends up working, and how somebody even who feels confident and comfortable with doing these things ends up having stuff happen, and how you just go, okay, well, no need to panic. Just backtrack a couple steps and tick, 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 tick. Work it, fix the problem, and then you're square. So I hope this has been helpful for folks, and let me know if you have questions. Thanks. Bye.